So does your brother mention anything about this, or he's kind of like staying in his lane?
I have no idea. I haven't spoken to him in weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
I'm kind of just bummed out, really, about the trucker thing.
Oh, about
I'm very
Canada?
bummed out. Because that was the only positive thing that happened in the last 2 years with these animals.
Yeah.
Nobody's done shit except for them, and now they just basically ran away. I mean, they ran away. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not blaming them, but they submitted. Like, it didn't work.
They didn't submit. You know what they did? They supposedly, I heard they went to like this open area. There's like an open trucker parking thing, and they just like parked themselves over there, and they're just they're doing like art of war situation where they're just kind of regrouping, I guess.
Where are you getting this information?
This is no. Some people have been posting about it, like literally taking pictures of it on Twitter. See, this is the thing, man. Like, I feel like information that you get or that people get on Twitter, or just any independent, what's called guerrilla social media, is more legit than getting it from the Politburo media. You know. And it doesn't even matter if it's Fox News or Newsmax or any of those guys. I feel like citizen journalism is more legitimate than those guys.
I agree. I just don't know. It's hard to know who to listen to and who's full of BS.
Well, I mean, there's word now. People that took pictures, and that's word is getting around. They're like, there's what's it called? There are these guys that basically, are there, and more of them came actually. More of them came from the western part of Canada. Because it wasn't like every trucker on Earth, every trucker in Canada, but more came. Because I guess they saw that, like, holy shit, like, it was working. And then, of course, Trudeau decided, it wasn't even Trudeau that decided, somebody decided for him. Somebody who's behind him. And he basically, what is it? Those guys are mercenaries. Those guys that are like they're paid. They're from another country. They're from like UN or something.
Well, I mean, I've heard that too. It seems like, but like, is there any information where like that? Is anybody talking about that? Is anybody like?
So once again, people taped a UN airplane, C whatever, like a military grade airplane.
Yeah.
They taped it in Canada. So the question is, what the hell is that airplane? It's on a peacekeeping airplane?
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's something. I didn't know if it was based on anything.
Yeah. Also, I mean,
are you recording or?
Yeah,
or
I'm recording. Yeah.
Oh,
I've been recording. So I've been recording.
I got you. Did you record yourself? Nah, forget it. I'm not.
Wait, what are you talking about?
I can't hear you that well, man.
I'm sorry, I'm just in the kitchen here making a sandwich.
I got
What did you say? Did I record myself what? Hello?
Yeah, I couldn't hear what you said.
I said, you said I record myself what?
No, I was going to say, did you record yourself, I forgot, like basically rejecting my hard work on the...
No, I'm not rejecting it at all, but I did not record that part, no. But I for sure am not, I'm just, I'm not rejecting it at all. I'm totally in favor of it. I'm totally in favor.
In theory.
It's Stam. Whatever, yeah.
Alright, folks at home. So, no more letters for you guys.
No, we'll have letters.
The tyrant Greg has
Trudeau's...
Greg is the Trudeau of this podcast.
Trudeau's stepchild has spoken.
He is... Yeah.
I'm like the World... I am the World Economic Forum. We will not have Hebrew letters. The holiness of Hebrew letters should not enter this chamber anymore.
It's
Yeah,
too
that's
much
what it seems
holiness
like
for
happening.
us.
That's what it seems like happening. All right. So
Anyway,
you
Canada.
want to talk about stupid Ukraine? Talk about stupid Ukraine. What do you want to know?
I mean, I know. I was just saying to the loyal listeners of the Rogue.
You mean I thought you were talking about Rogue. You mean your Rogue podcast?
Of my rogues, yeah. I was just telling people that it's not so simple. Like you know that Odessa had Saakashvili as the mayor for a couple of years. Did you know that?
Saakashvili sounds like a Georgian guy.
The former president of Georgia, the guy who was the president of Georgia when Putin gave them a slap in the face, back when, he became the mayor. Oh, here you go. From May 2015 until November 2016, Saakashvili was the governor of Ukraine's Odessa Oblast. Oh, wow. He's the founder and former chairman of United National Movement Party. Yeah, Ukraine's National Reform Council since May 2020. Yeah, he was the governor of Odessa Oblast, which I guess means also de facto. And they decided.
I don't know. Odessa is one of those cities. It's like it's famous, but it's kind of like it's not like a real the real Ukrainian cities are everything but Kiev and Odessa.
Correct.
The rest of Ukraine.
Kiev is very Russian to me. Russian style, Russian energy, Russian-esque.
I mean, I can't really tell the difference between Russian and Ukrainian, except for the language, but everything else seems similar.
If you ever go to Lvov, it's very Eastern European.
Well, Russians are Eastern European. Right?
No, but Lvov used to be part of Austria. It's the architecture and the energy, it's very more like Europe.
So by Eastern Europe, you mean set closer to Central Europe,
yeah.
Like Western Europe.
Well, I mean Eastern Europe. I mean like Poland, Czech Republic. Lvov is closer to, geographically closer to them, but it's it was Austria and Hungary at one point, and Poland. So I don't know. I can tell you, I went to Kiev. I was there for 2 hours. This is like 10 years ago. I got on a train. 6 hours later, I was in Lvov, and I got out of the train. I felt like I was in a different country.
I got you. Listen, Ukraine is, by the way, people don't realize Ukraine is a relatively huge country.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's bigger than France.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of territory, and there's a lot of people who, when was the last time Ukraine's borders were defined before the Soviet Union? You know what I mean?
See, this is what a lot of Russians say, but it's not about borders. It's about the fact that there always were such thing as ethnic Ukrainian people.
Well, not according to Russians.
I know.
According to Russians, Ukrainians are just because the word Ukraine means the edge. Yeah. It's very similar to the Russian word for krai, right? Which means the edge.
Yeah.
It's the edge of. They look at Ukraine as the edge of Russia. It's sort of like, why'd you even bother making a different country? You're just the edge of Russia.
Yeah, but they can look at it however they want, but you realize
Ukraine was always problematic for them because that represents where foreign influence is always most porous. Mm-hmm. Right, from Western Europe to the Russian territory, because there's always been a competition. Like Russia is not always the aggressor. They were half the time the aggressor, but the other people forget the other half the time Western Europe was the aggressor trying to push into Eastern Europe, right? Yeah. Freaking why would Hitler even try to do that? You know what I mean? He wasn't the first one who did it. Yeah. Why would Napoleon, right? Why would he try to get into? So it's been a constant issue since that time, and for Russians, it never stopped.
It's like Asov versus the epitome of Asov versus Asov.
Yeah, I'm not, and guys, I'm not I'm not a huge fan of the of Russia,
Mm-hmm.
to put it mildly. But if you want to look at this situation, you have to kind of at least realize that NATO, right, putting their forces
Mm-hmm.
in Ukraine
Yeah.
is like Russia putting their forces and their missiles and huge amounts of soldiers at the Mexican-Texas border,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that true? I'm not saying I'm
But
not.
you
going
have
one
to
way or the other.
understand
I'm
why
just
you
saying,
have to
just look at
understand,
it.
you have to understand why they're doing it. Obviously, because he would take back the whole of the country, and not only that, he would like attack Europe.
Do you think so? I'm not sure if he would be doing this had, like, if he didn't have NATO as an excuse. I'm not sure there would be anything. I don't know.
I'll tell you why he would. Because he's a KGB guy. He always wants the Soviet Union back. The landmass, not the communism part. And if they didn't do that, why do you think NATO, for example, put their headquarters in Estonia? In a tiny, Baltic country. Because he would take back Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, if he could. But he's not going to.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're that is a possibility. I'm not going to necessarily say for sure. I know that there's a lot of. It's hard to decide who is just like a war hawk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you listen to the neocons, right, they're always looking for war anywhere you can find it with any supposed threat. And if there's no real threat, they'll create it.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of what you just said, I've heard the neocons say stuff like that. Okay,
Yeah.
Warmongers.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean it's not. There isn't some truth to it,
Yeah.
but it really gives me pause.
Yeah.
Okay, because of the people who are saying stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
You know what I mean? I'm not really sure. I have some reason to believe that Russia wouldn't necessarily do this.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why. Russia has never recovered their population since World War II.
Yeah.
And they can't. Women are leaving Russia and trying to marry either Western European men or American men or even Asian men or whatever. Okay,
Well, it's mostly because of money.
It's not just because of money. It's because of the lack of availability of normal Russian guys.
Yeah, because they're all drunks. Not all, but a lot of them.
Right. First of all, the amount of guys that there are was never that much to begin with, and a huge percentage of them are serious alcoholics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's it. And so women want a stable marriage. Obviously, they'd rather marry a Russian guy. But since they're not present, in their state of mind, so that's not. So why am I saying this? Because if you have if your population isn't abundant, do you really want to pull it into a conflict that's going to kill the best of them, right?
Yeah.
Right? Who are you sending to the front? You're not sending the drunks.
Yeah.
Right? So you're taking the best guys who the women are basically fighting each other for anyway, and now you're gonna what do you think what do you think's gonna happen? Unless he feels like he has super weapons where actual soldiers won't have to do anything. Okay, so I don't know. You know what I mean? It's not so stom that he's gonna go and do this.
Yeah.
I feel, based on what I've learned, based on what I've seen, that between him and NATO, if I had to choose who the good guy is, none of them are good guys.
Yeah.
But the lesser of two evils really looks like Putin.
That's why. See, I've been trying to tell that to my parents, but they're very, very biased against Putin only because Putin is, they dealt with the KGB in their face, and Putin is a typical KGB little. He's like a little KGB thug. That's what he is. There's no denying that. And that's what it is. and so they have trouble. Like
Yeah,
they,
but are these guys any better? Like, look
no,
at,
no,
like,
they're not. They're not. They're not. The only thing is that it's not. It goes down, and my mother makes this argument that it goes down to not so much the argument of who's better, Putin or NATO, but if Putin is allowed to do what he wants to do, doesn't matter if it's NATO stopping him or somebody else stopping them. Santa Claus, the issue is the price of oil. Instability. Like tomorrow or the next day, the next few months, our gas prices are going to be through the roof, even more.
Yeah, but you see, that's another thing that doesn't make sense, which kind of throws a monkey wrench into whether or not there's an actual conflict.
Yeah.
Biden gave him oil. He gave him basically. He gave.
You're talking about this whole Nord Stream thing? No, that's.
No, because he stopped the Keystone Pipeline.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
understand?
that's something. Yeah.
You understand? Like he interfered with everybody but Russia's ability to, to flow gas and natural gas.
Yeah.
I mean, oil and natural gas.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's so many strange things going on that it makes me feel silly to really have these kind of discussions because we don't know what the actual story is. We're just kind of like responding to like lights and stimuli.
Do you know what I think the story is? I think the story is this is something that I posited, and you'll probably maybe agree. This is something that I wrote. Give me a second. It's something I wrote on Twitter as a response to a friend of mine who saw things differently, and this is what I wrote to him. It was a little bit. It sounded convoluted, which is why my friend thought it was like a conspiracy theory. But I said, okay, well, when you actually think about it, it's not so much a conspiracy theory. If you actually really think critically about it, give me 1 second. Let me pull it up. Something about. 1 second. I'll tell you exactly what I wrote. Okay. I wrote the following. Where is this stuff, man? Okay. Problem is I've been tweeting a lot and I need to find this. Okay. Yeah, so my initial tweet was about, basically I wrote like, if you want to know what's going on in this whole Ukraine-Russia thing, watch the movie Wag the Dog. You've seen Wag the Dog, right?
Sure.
Where they basically foment this like imaginary war in Albania to detract from. It's kind of like what Clinton did with the whole Serbia thing, even though it was a real war, but he basically participated in it to distract from his Monica Lewinsky thing. We know that. So I basically, I wrote Wag the Dog, and a friend of mine responded. If I can find the damn thing, here.
Just for the folks at home, the term "wag the dog" means you create news, right? So you're not reporting news.
Yeah.
You report fake news, and then hopefully you try to force the reality to match the fake news that you report.
Exactly, force the issue. So it says, are you saying it was Biden who placed over 100,000 Russian troops on the Ukrainian border? I said, oh, that was Putin for sure. The question is, what is he actually doing with those troops? And then my friend responds, given Putin's previous annexation of Crimea and his recent rhetoric worrying about an invasion is not unreasonable. Whatever Biden is doing, it is not making an invasion more likely. And we will all know soon enough whether it happens or not. And I respond, first of all, let's remember who was in office when Putin had the impetus to take Crimea. Obama. With that said, the Biden administration and the mainstream media are fanning the flames of perception. What we just said. They need to distract the public as they back away from their misdeeds. I was referring to COVID. And then I wrote further, Putin will threaten, then make a slight move towards Kiev after a media circus loud enough to distract 50% of the public away from the coming scandals with Pfizer, Schmeiser, and Mousy. Biden will give Putin a pile of cash, and Eastern Ukraine will become a part of Russia. So far, that's looking like exactly as I said. Then my friend writes, that's a very complicated conspiracy theory. Then I wrote, I sent them a chart of like what was a hoax a year ago and what's the truth today, and it's all these like COVID, these things to do with COVID, like a list of 20 things. And I said, we seem to be living in a conspiracy theory. Forgive my critical thinking. And then he writes, the graphic isn't very fair, blah, blah, blah. We were told about vaccines, this whole thing, vaccines. And then I wrote, when did I say Biden paid Putin to distract? Putin does want to invade something, like somewhere. I said Biden the administration paid Putin not to invade. What I'm saying is the Biden admin, not Biden himself, he's home sleeping, LOL, are fanning perception of a world war in the media. And then my friend writes, the perception of war can only last for so long. Either there will be one or not. We will know soon. We will know soon. Plus, you yourself said that Putin will invade. Unless the Ukrainians don't resist, that would cause a war. What would cause a war? So he's seeing as I like Putin. I'm saying, like we just said, that these guys see that Putin wants something, so they're gonna fan it out to as if he wants more. They're gonna make a mountain out of a molehill, basically, and they're gonna drum up, this like narrative in the media. That's what it's looking like to me. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I see how someone could have that perspective, but I'm not 100% sure Putin's not in on this with everybody.
No, I think he is. I think they're all in on it.
No, but you know what I mean? Like they're all on the same page. It's just playing. They're playing roles. It's theater.
Yeah, it's theater, and even what's his face is playing Zelensky, pretending to be dude. He's an actor. He was an actor. He's a comedian. A funny one too.
I'll take your. I don't know. I don't feel like going on a voyage of discovery with Ukrainian humor. But can I ask you a question?
By the way, speaking of which, real quick before you ask me a question, his primary language is Russian. That's why Ukrainian nationalists think that he's a Putin puppet. Because he's from.
It might. I mean, they might be right. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very difficult to side in any way with Ukrainian nationalists because it's like you got if you had to segregate or separate Amalek into like three groups, I would say I'd say Ukrainians are definitely have a share in Amalek, and the Germans. Or whatever from the previous generation. It's not even clear if we're talking about the same Germans anymore, and then some of the Ishmaelites who aren't in favor of us.
Can I tell you a 30-second story? My mom was involved. My parents were involved a couple of years ago, and she's standing waiting for the light to change. Standing with a friend who lives in Lvov. And they overhear these two Ukrainian drunks talking about Zelensky. And one of them says, he goes, oh, Zelensky is Žid. He's a kike.
Yeah.
And then the other guy responds, yeah, but he's our Žid. He's like, we like him because he's our Žid. Because he's of there's Russian, there's the Žids of the Russians. And there's the Žids of, they see us as like, depending on who we belong to, like pets, like we're like pets.
I heard this other joke where it was actually dubbed in English, but it was a Ukrainian guy talking about, you have two Ukrainians having a conversation saying where this guy over here, he's этот еврей, который живет, the Jew that lives in Israel, he's awesome, he's wonderful, he's this, he's smart, and they have opera, and they have an awesome army, and they're modern, and there's blah 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 blah. Okay, but the Jews that live here, they are Žids, right? And then he says, and the Russians who live in Russia, they're smart, they're wonderful, they have opera, they have culture, they have a great army, la 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 la. But the Russians that live here, they're Katsap or something, whatever the hell they, and then all of a sudden he goes, and the Ukrainians that live here are Chachli, which is a derogatory term for Ukrainians, and this is a Ukrainian calling his own people Ukrainian, and his friend is like, well, where are the good Ukrainians living in Canada?
And now we see what's going on over there with those guys.
Yeah.
Dude, I told you, my cousin visited me in 2008, my cousin from Toronto, he spoke to my mom for about an hour, and then we were just kind of walking around. He was like, after speaking to your mom, I'm trying to understand, like, what I notice is like Americans are very passionate about talking about, debating about politics. He's like, we in Canada, we just like live our lives. We don't bother ourselves with politics. And now I'm looking at what's going on in Canada. And I'm like, yep, this is where just living your life gets you.
Yeah, enjoy your life.
Yeah,
just go live it.
Yeah. It's like my friends. I just want to live my life. I'm like, in order for you to live your life, you have to be alive, physically alive, after taking poison. This is whatever.
Of course, they're going to succeed with foolish weaklings.
Yeah.
Like this,
Yeah.
But can I say, earlier you said the Cummings scandal with the Schmeiser, right? And, and the Schmamurna.
Yeah.
What it boggles my mind.
Can I read to you? Can I read to you what's going to be the scandal?
But here's my question.
Yeah.
A scandal is when somebody brings up some kind of charges on someone or some kind of rumor that someone did something.
Okay.
And then somebody is worried about repercussions.
So here's the thing. Do you remember what?
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, and I'm going to explain to you how this is. In the words of what's his name? The guy from Team America World Police, Tim Robbins. Let me explain to you how this works. Do you remember Madoff? What precipitated the whole Madoff thing? What precipitated the whole Madoff thing was not that some wonderful SEC agents or SEC people were so moral and dug into Madoff, and they were so moral and wonderful, and they are like, yeah, we got Madoff, like we found a guy doing this horrible thing. They knew about this horrible thing for 8 years, longer probably. What happened? The market tanked. Something happened in the market which forced the hand of the people who were the investors, which forced the SEC to do something because they could not do. They could not do, rather. So
okay, so that sounds like you have people who are, let's say, generally Biden voters, right?
Yeah.
That got pissed off, and we're talking about people with money, high-level people, who are with power. So that's them getting pissed off. The same people who are in power now. What do they have to worry about?
Let me read something to you, and maybe then we can see where we can go.
Okay, before you read, I don't want to commit to this.
Okay.
I just want to know who's going to come and whoop their ass when the time comes.
I'll after I read this relatively short thing to you, I'll tell you who's going to whoop their ass.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Fine.
This is a Substack written by a girl, Etana Hecht. I don't know if she's Jewish, sounds Jewish, maybe, I don't know. The vaccine saga hits the markets and investors are opening their eyes. Edward Dowd is a former BlackRock portfolio manager who has been making the rounds on a lot of the underground media channels. Dowd has jumped on board to raise alarm bells about the unfolding disaster that is the COVID-19 vaccine rollout from the financial side of things. Money talks first, and while the mainstream media might be perfectly content to look the other way when confronted with stories of mass amounts of vaccine injuries, Wall Street doesn't work like that. Edward primarily focuses on a few streams of information that's come out over the recent months. Number one, insurance company death rates. Insurance companies' numbers don't lie, and the story inside the numbers is pretty horrifying. Yeah, they have like these actuary guys who are like digging into math and crazy things. A couple of months ago, Scott Davidson, the CEO of a life insurance company in Indiana, made a remark on a Zoom call that went underground, quote-unquote, underground viral. Davidson said that at his company, claims for deaths have seen a 40% increase in quarter 3 and into quarter 4 of 2021. The increase was among 18 to 64-year-olds and primarily not, I repeat, not COVID deaths, not. So what the heck are they dying from? He said that this increase is unheard of and by far the highest number of deaths in the history of the company, and that a catastrophic once in a 200 years event would be expected to have a 10% increase at worst. Edward collaborated with a friend from Wall Street to gather the exact numbers from some of the biggest insurance companies in the industry. The increase in death rates for the second half of 2021 ranged from 21% plus or minus 57%. Bombshell numbers. Okay, so now he lists the insurance companies. Loss ratios, death claims, Q4 rate versus 2019. Unum, since names of the insurance companies. Unum, 36%. Lincoln, 57. Prudential, 41%. I don't know what RGA is. I guess these are the symbols in the stock. Hartford Insurance, 32%. MetLife, 24%. Eye-opening to say the least. Next, number 2, funeral homes. Funeral homes literally can't hide the bodies. They know how many people they usually bury in the various age groups and how many they've buried in the second half of 2021. Carriage Services in CSV is a public funeral home company. Q3 saw an uptick in August and September. September saw an uptick of 28%. August 13%. Mandates were announced plus boosters hitting for the quarter. Funerals and cremations up 12 to 13% respectively. Number 3, Pfizer whistleblower. A woman named Brooke Jackson worked for a company called Ventavia, which was contracted out by Pfizer to run parts of the clinical trial. Brooke was in charge of one arm of the trial that consisted of 1,000 patients. When her patients became prematurely unblinded, she reported the contamination of the data to Pfizer, assuming they'd react appropriately and according to her trial protocol. What actually happened was that they fired her 6 hours later and locked her out of all trial data. After pursuing multiple options to report the data manipulation, Brooke opened a lawsuit against both Pfizer and Ventavia, hoping the U.S. government would intervene and open an investigation. The government declined to intervene, and the case is making its way through the courts. She will be giving an interview this week with Steve Kirsch. I look forward to that. Okay. Number 4, Department of Defense data. An attorney named Tom Renz brought 3 military whistleblowers in front of Senator Ron Johnson's COVID panel last month. They brought verified data showing horrific increases in medical issues in the military, including 1,000% increase in neurological issues and a 300% increase in miscarriages, a host of other issues with similarly troubling increases in 2021 over the previous 5-year average.
I have the whole list in front of me. Should I read it?
Of what? Of the DOD stuff?
Yeah. So 279% spike in miscarriages, 487% spike in breast cancer, 1,048% spike in nervous system issues, 155% spike in birth defects, 350% spike in male infertility, 369% spike testicular cancer, 2,181% spike in hypertension, 664% spike in malignant neoplasms, 680% spike in multiple sclerosis, 551% spike in I don't know how to pronounce this, but Guillain-Barré syndrome. Guillain-Barré syndrome. I don't know what that is. 400, but it sounds bad. 468% spike in pulmonary embolism. 302% spike in tachycardia. 452% spike in migraines. 471% spike in female infertility. 471% spike in female infertility. Okay, just wanted to say that again. 437% spike in ovarian dysfunction, 269% spike in myocardial infarction. That's a heart attack. 291% spike in Bell's palsy, and 467% spike in pulmonary embolism.
Dude, this is like premeditated. It's crazy.
Okay, so who's gonna whoop their ass?
Okay, so and then the VAERS stuff. There's like VAERS, whatever it is. Who's going to whoop their ass? What ends up happening here is the market reacts. And when markets react, something's got to give. Something always has to give. And when we're going to see data come out from Pfizer, today they released, CDC has been hiding their data. And I think in the beginning of March now, Pfizer, I think FDA has to release Pfizer data. Even though they're probably going to try to, redact it, whatever it is. Something's got to give. Stuff's going to have to come out. The markets react. When the markets react, and CNBC has to talk about these things. They will talk about these things. They will have no choice but to talk about these things. Once that happens, then you have a situation where it's unavoidable.
Yes, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I see a big gap.
It's unavoidable.
They don't care.
Listen, you could say, so now here's my question to you: what made people lose money? You're talking about those Biden voters. What, you think people didn't invest in Pfizer and Moderna? These same people? Of course they did. When Pfizer and Moderna go under, literally under, Like become the next
Right.
Enron?
Right, but you know why I'm thinking that they're not particularly worried about repercussions from these people? They expect them to be dead soon.
Yeah, but not.
That's what it seems like.
That's true, but not everybody's gonna be dead. Not everybody.
Right,
Not
but
everybody.
and it seems that the people who aren't, they are can be managed.
No, what's gonna happen is the stuff is gonna come out before those people die. So before those people die, they'll take them to task. Like it's
No, no, okay, so what I'm asking is like this: are they going to pick up pitchforks and tiki torches, and head for
that's not how they operate. What they do is they operate in by way of being very, very upset and being, kind of like a moralist and puritanical-esque, even though they have no religion and no God, but they behave as if they are, like dogmatic people, and they go on TV and they say, "How could this happen?" And "Oh my God!" And The View, and then we have what's her name, that scary Jurassic creature, Joy Behar, and what's her face, because these people are, at the end of the day, they're kind of like old style liberals who just kind of like kowtow to wokeness because it's convenient. But in the end of the day, they're old style liberals, And at the end of the day, if they see something that's kind of egregious, some of them, especially the women, they'll say, this is unacceptable, and this is preposterous, and this is a travesty and a tragedy, and how could this happen, and how could we let this happen, and this. So what happens with these people is they go in the media and they just start stirring up this, what's called in Russian chaika hysteria, and that's it. And people have no choice but to, and these people are hurting financially. They're hurting. They realize that people are going to be hurting health-wise. Not all liberals are, heartless NPCs. We know that.
I know, but what are shrieking liberals? How is that going to put the bad guys in jail?
Because they, at the end of the day, they make demands. They make demands in the public. You see,
yeah, but they don't. But they don't. But the guys in charge don't care. They won't care what Joy Behar has to say.
It's not about. Listen, there's enough people. There's enough people that want in charge. There's enough people in these agencies. There's enough people in power that want to at least give the appearances of legitimacy. They want to give the appearances. They want to save face. A regime.
That's where that's where I disagree with you.
So how come the SEC went after all the people? There's enough people lost enough money. What? Because he's Jewish? They went after Madoff because he's Jewish, or what? Enough people.
Yeah, they'll go after. Every now and then, they choose a korban. They choose a sacrifice to go down, which draws all the attention, all the ire from everything that.
Well, my friend.
Trust me, Madoff was not the only
well,
one
my friend,
involved in what.
I'll tell you this. Okay. In the words of our friend, I'll tell you this. Notice, and Hashem did this, and I hate to go the Farrakhan route.
I know they always pick a Jew to take the fall.
Yes, you notice the Ben Sell guy from Moderna disappeared like the thief in the night from Twitter, and who's the guy stuck doing PR and thinks that he's, a Cheshire cat?
Yeah, but we know this.
Mr. Shmurla.
I never even thought another thing could possibly happen. Obviously, it's going to be the Jew, the Soros, the Madoff, the guy who's. Listen, this has been the case since Charlemagne.
Yeah.
Okay, the Jews were invited more than 1,000 years ago to Central Europe, Central North, specifically for the task of being a go-between between the dirty, unwashed masses and the European aristocracy. Okay, they wanted to charge taxes, so they got Jews to do it for them, so that they wouldn't have to. Because according to Christianity, you can't do that kind of thing. But if you get a Jew to do it, perfect, right? And then when they're pissed off and they come with their tiki torches, obviously, who are they going to go to? They're going to go to the Jew.
Yeah.
It was the Jew who came and took their money, right?
Yeah.
Even though the money didn't go to the Jew, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's been the same pattern for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Okay? And the Jews who agree to go to do this are the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
I wouldn't piss in their face if they were on fire.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. That's funny, sort of. Yeah. Listen. So. What
All right.
What can you say?
So again, I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I know that you don't have the answer, even though you think you do. You don't.
I don't have the ultimate answer, but I
who's
do
going to
think
come and do
yeah.
crap to them because they are the ones who go and do crap to others. Do you understand?
Correct. I just think something's gonna give. Something's gonna have to give. Like you said, that how do they think they're gonna get away with this? They're not. They're not.
They're not going to get away with it. But I keep saying the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That's why I keep saying the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, because there's no one, like, for instance, the Canadian truckers.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't stay to fight it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did not stay.
They proved.
Yeah.
They proved that instead of here's what they accomplished. Instead of triumphing, okay, and showing what getting together can do, okay, they showed how getting together won't do crap, because the guys with the guns are going to come and they're in charge, and that's it. It facilitated Trudeau's dominance, is what it did.
I think that these guys pulled a what is it called? Art of War, just pull back. And I think there's more of them coming. They're still there. They haven't given up. Those guys have not given up. It looks like they have, but it has not. They have not. The American guys are coming now. I think what you said is, remember what that trucker said. Sometimes maybe it's better just to turn off your trucks instead of wasting your gas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If they would have done that,
Yeah.
then you see, if they would have done that from the beginning, then what's going to happen? Trudeau's going to come in with the same jackbooted thugs,
Yeah.
and and go and force the trucker to go to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
That really would have been perhaps the thing that would finally set Canadians off to actually do something for real.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, every time I see that guy's face,
Yeah.
I just wish they would have got a guy with a different face.
Well, like
That face, seriously,
yeah.
that's the face.
Yeah. Well, like Macron or something.
That face should be in a toilet. Okay, he should have been getting like wedgies,
Yeah.
atomic wedgies, and getting his face being shoved in a locker forever for his entire life.
Yeah.
A guy with that face should not be able to live life normally.
Trudeau,
Okay?
you're talking
And
about.
they made him.
You're talking about Trudeau.
I'm so pissed at Canadians because look what you did.
It's not Canadians. It's
morons.
you know how he got elected. It's kind of like Bennett got elected. It's a small percentage in Quebec and partially Ontario, and then he made a coalition. It's not. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's not.
I mean, listen.
I don't even think he had a mandate.
Maybe it was the same way. Listen. Maybe it's the same means as Chavez got elected,
Yeah.
or that disgusting creature who sits in the White House sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Usually sleeping. Yeah.
So, oh God, I'm so sick of these. I'm so sick of this. So basically, yeah, man. I mean, so tomorrow, all right. We got the American truckers.
Yeah.
Okay. These guys are armed.
Yeah. Yep. Even though they're not going to shoot anybody, these are all civil disobedience. Like your brother says, civil disobedience. Nobody's going to shoot anybody.
Not going. I'm talking about if they're being attacked.
Yeah.
By those bots.
Yeah.
Those drones.
Yeah.
That look like people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. Brother, can I tell you something, by the way? I'm on LinkedIn, and I post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, usually stuff that's more like to do with COVID, but more like stuff that's like can be corroborated, And I posted the video of your brother talking about how, the fraudulent study by the Lancet, the one that was retracted, and how the FDA revoked the emergency use authorization even after the retraction, And I posted that.
Okay.
And usually when I post something like that, I see they show you the views. This is the video. They show the amount of views. So I actually got 300 views on this video. Usually what happens is sometimes I'll get 300 views, but nobody will click like, right? Nobody will do that. And I'm wondering why. Today, actually, 8 people clicked like. Because I think it's because it's your brother and the Orthodox guys, whatever, these guys who are, watching this video. And then I get a message a couple of days ago from a good friend of mine, and I was actually, what's funny? I was wondering about him, because he's part of the whole modern Orthodox, contingent. So I was wondering, I was afraid to even ask him, because I haven't spoken to him in a while. He works at one of these, whatever. He's a financial advisor at one of the bigger, places. What, a very well-known company, let's put it that way. And he just writes to me, he's like, this is my work LinkedIn, so I can't comment on or like any of your posts. But we are like-minded. Hope all is well, my friend. And then I wrote to him, hey brother, thanks so much for reaching out. Yeah, I feel like there's a few people like this on here who can't speak/interact openly. I'm in New Jersey. Let's get in touch. Dude, there's people who they can't even click like on something, but I know they're watching.
Yeah, but so if you're talking about, so what are we going to do? What are we going to inspire by people who won't even click like? Okay, so they think they think like us. They're like Moranos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are.
Which means that they're just going to continue, in the path that they're going until it's too late. So what are we going to do? We're gonna inspire them to click like? No. Okay. Everybody thinks they're smarter and that they're gonna clandestine this situation out.
They're gonna outlast the situation. Yeah, they're gonna outlast this whole thing. No, it's not. Listen, at the end of the day, they're gonna have to get up and that I was reading, somebody posted about 1776. You know that only 10% of the actual population physically did anything against physically was involved in anything against the British. Did you know about this?
Well, you mean 10% you mean of the men of fighting age population?
I don't know. It was a very big minority. There was a lot of people who actually were against it. They were like, don't rabble rouse don't do this. You don't want to go against the British.
Yeah, they were loyalists, right?
No, some people were not loyalists. Some people, there was loyalists, but there were also people who were just like, don't do this. You're gonna get run over by a steamroller. Don't do it. They were just afraid. They were just like, it was a here. You know what? There's a guy. That guy Huff here. The guy who used to work for Shmiko Health. Here he writes. 1 second. Here. By the way, the Queen of England was given ivermectin.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. So here he wrote.
Yeah, they're not ashamed.
No.
That's what I'm saying. They are so confident that nobody's going to do anything.
Yeah.
They'll do whatever the hell they want. They don't care what people know.
Yeah.
Do you understand what's going on, dude?
Yeah, I know.
Stuff that we usually can get excited about in previous life, when this comes out, it's going to be a scandal. Yeah. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a scandal. So the only thing that I've seen that's positive, because I'm so bummed out about this damn, what's happening in Canada. Yeah. I forgot that Truth Social launched.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And it was so crazy that people couldn't even log on because the server could not handle it.
Right. But I also saw something that said that they're dealing with a massive cyber attack.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You heard that too?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
All right. So.
Well, I think that's why they're doing this thing of only releasing earlier. Now they're releasing only just on iPhone. and they're probably, I heard they're gonna release for Android, because I have Android. They're gonna release for Android in about a month. So they're doing it like kind of like, you know, in stages. But I want
It's
to
very
get
strange.
yeah. Well, he wrote something. He wrote something. Ah, here we go. Here we go.
No. So basically, that's, you know, I think that's probably a very positive move because, you know, if you would think about it hypothetically, right? If it launches,
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter, Facebook, you know, all the stuff, they're finished. Like,
Yeah.
no one's going to go there. Everybody will abandon them instantaneously because no one wants to be on a platform where they're constantly censored.
Yeah.
Okay, meaning anybody normal,
Yeah.
and then all the evil leftist trolls are going to want to come over and open accounts there so that they can do their trolling.
Yeah. And that's
Right.
it.
So
And
that's
it.
so they're finished.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, they're finished. I mean, we'll see. See, it says the guy responded. He said he wrote. He's like, during the American Revolution, the majority of Americans did not agree with fighting against the British monarchy for independence. The estimated range of people supporting the Patriots was somewhere between 20 to 45%. That's a pretty wide range, but you know, it's a minority. Don't follow, lead. And then some guy responded. In fact, some 50,000 Tories left the colonies in the 1780s to continue living under the British rule in Canada. That just was a preference for many people. And then he says only 3% actively participated. So out of the 20 or whatever minimum percent that actually supported the Patriots, only 3% physically actively participated. Which makes sense. I mean, that's the military. And plus whoever, you know, plus guys like Mel Gibson in that movie, you know?
Yeah. Mel Gibson.
So yeah.
Mel Gibson would be hiding in his root cellar.
You know, my partner has a root cellar. It's funny that you mentioned that.
That's what they had. They didn't have.
My partner's house.
They didn't have refrigerators. They had root cellars.
Check this out. My partner's house in Pomona dates back to the Revolution, to 1780 something. And
That's awesome.
And it has a root cellar. He has a wine cave in the house, and then he has a root cellar, like, which is, you know, that's like outside the house. It's in the backyard. Crazy. It's funny you mentioned that.
Breaking: Putin trumps Biden aligns with 2 Ukrainian republics without firing a shot.
It's all like it's theater. We can tell it's theater. This is theater. Now look at this. Energy futures in Shanghai surge collectively on Tuesday opening. Asphalt jumps about 7%. Crude oil futures 4.6%. Iron ore futures 4% higher. Thermal coal, cooking oil, steel rebar 1.6%. And also, by the way, the market was closed today, but the Dow future, because the futures market is a 24-hour market. Here. It was down. Yeah, it's down 1.3%, 400 points. This is a 24-hour around the clock. Tomorrow's gonna be a blood on the streets.
Yeah. By the way, another thing when you're talking about the markets, they're being artificially controlled.
For sure. That's something else. Yeah, that's something else. That's for sure. But
you know what I mean? So that's another way that they can kind of, if they're really concerned about you know the stockholders, you know, picking up tiki torches, they can just kind of, you know, they can shift it a little bit.
No, here that's true to some extent, but listen. At the end of the day, what ends up happening is that what happens is laymen jump in, and they just get a whiff of the news, and then they just start either selling whatever they were holding. Let's say if somebody's holding, a bunch of people holding Pfizer stock, or they start to short sell, and you're pushing it down even more. Basically, the company can go bankrupt in a day. If some like a news comes out, it could just go bankrupt in a day or two. It could literally be wiped out same day, within hours. I've seen it, dude. You know, I've been around for a while on this thing. And yeah, they could use him as a korban, Mr. Genesis Prize, you know, Mr. Thessaloniki, as usual.
It's the same pattern. They just keep doing it because they keep getting away.
Yeah.
And by the way, I saw this movie. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was something about like political turmoil in Mexico in the 1800s. Kind of like you had
Interesting.
Spain, and then you had like all these different kinds of factions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Who were fighting each other, and you had this like one peasant guy who had just was like a small farmer, and he had some chickens.
Yeah.
And every time there would be a conflict, the group, whoever, some other, let's just call them the Greens and the Whites and the red. I'm using Russian Revolution.
Yeah.
That kind of, so it's like, if it's not the white, so they see this guy, the peasant, and he's crying, and then they're like, "Why are you crying? You're supporting the cause."
Yeah.
He goes, "Last time the other guys came here, they killed and eat my chickens, and me and my family were hungry. Now it's you guys who come and kill and eat my chickens, and me and my family are hungry.
Yeah.
That's all you are to us. Okay,
Yeah.
That's what it means to be a peasant.
Yeah.
That's what it means to not lead,
Yeah.
to sit on your ass, to be too scared to click like."
Yeah. Yeah, we're not even asking for these guys to pick up guns. Just click like on a post, man. Dude, I posted about the data about the guy took Israeli data of you know what they did in Israel? They called people or they surveyed people who took the vaccine on their side effects. And this guy on Substack, you know what he did? He took the data. It was official Ministry of Health data. They released it on a PDF. He took it thinking, thinking that nobody else besides them reads Hebrew, right? I think he's a Jewish guy. He took it, he translated it, and then you know what he did? He applied it to America, ratio-wise. You know what he came up with? And I posted this. Number of Americans who experience adverse reaction following the booster. 500,000 Bell's palsy. This is an estimate. 450,000 hospitalizations. Almost 200,000 seizures, convulsions. 120,000 people loss of consciousness. 120,000 people shingles. Next chart. This is like rates per thing. Number of cases. Adverse events following the boosters. 182,000 seizures. 400. Yeah, 400. Okay, I already read this. Here, estimated number of events in America of tingling or itching sensation. Almost 3 million people. Bell's palsy, 500,000. Blurred disordered vision, 500,000. Memory problems, 350,000. Acute hearing disorders, 300,000. This is like the actual number, probably. Seizures, 180,000 people. Loss of consciousness, 134,000 people. Other, 200,000 people, we don't know what they had. Weakness and tiredness, 38 million people. Headache, 23 million people. Muscle pain, 23. Shaking, 15 million people. Fever over 100, 13 million people. Dizziness, feeling faint. This is what Jacinda Ardern says. That's how we know it's working. 8 million people. Nausea, vomiting, chest pain.
Yeah, they do.
5 million people with chest pain. 4.5 million with digestive system disorders. Enlarged lymph nodes. 3.7 million people in America. Coughing, okay, whatever. Anxiety, 1.8 million, and other. There's also people who had exacerbated, people with pre-existing chronic illness, hypertension, lung disease, diabetes, heart disease, anxiety, depression, and autoimmune. Percentage of worsening of symptoms following the booster. 6% had worsening of their hypertension, 26% worsening their anxiety, depression, 24% worsening their pre-existing autoimmune disease. I posted all of this. 381 people viewed this post on LinkedIn. One person clicked. It was a like, whatever. And it's a guy I've seen before. He usually clicks. I guarantee you a lot of people were like, shit. They read this and I know it's a lot of frum guys on my followers who actually clicked like on the video about Trudeau when he said about the swastikas. I know those guys saw this. I know those guys can open the link and then they know how to read Hebrew. But they can't click like on this. They can't be seen clicking like on this. It's crazy. It's just crazy, man.
Yeah, man.
What are we to make of this?
What can we make of this? We've been making a lot of it. We've been we've been making it over here with these guys.
See,
Okay, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, we've made nothing. We've established that. Okay,
So
it's
you-
like
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like this whole like thinking. My instinct tells me that showing this information to people,
Yeah.
it will do nothing.
Or it does the opposite. It scares the crap out of them. They don't even want to look. It's like forcing somebody to look into the abyss. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's like when I tell my friend, I'm like, look at all these athletes, and he's like, can you show me the numbers of previous years? I'm like, dude, I don't need to show you the numbers. I've been following sports for years. I can tell you straight off from my, anecdotal lying eyes that this never happens. Do you trust me? No, numbers. I'm like, do you trust me? It's just they can't.
So
It's too much.
right. So look. Basically, I feel like talking about this stuff, revealing it, on social media. To me, like comment sections of articles and social media are there to give an outlet for people to vent their frustrations. Meaning, like, pardon my, to use a very vulgar phrase, but they, I'm not going to use it. They spent their energy.
Yeah.
Okay? Whatever frustration that they could have used to actually make a change about something that they like by uniting, having to talk physically to your neighbor and, getting together and saying, we can't let them do this. So people just kind of, they kind of vent themselves out on the social media and it goes off into the ether and nothing gets accomplished at all. Okay? And so basically the only people who get up off their asses and do anything are leftist extremists. They resort to violence.
So speaking of which, you were talking
Wait,
about
it's not this. That was only half my point.
No.
Only half my point. So that's why I feel like unless you're gonna do that, okay, and leftists, you see, leftists have the benefit of being scummy dirtbags, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't have anything to lose because they're scummy dirtbags who've made horrible decisions with their lives, and so they become very easily manipulated, right? Like like BLM or Antifa and all these guys. They're just like low life scumbags doing this. Okay, so leftists have a plentiful supply of low life scumbags at their disposal.
Yeah.
Okay?
And they're also like they seem to wear like a badge of being cool or honor.
Yeah.
What I noticed.
Okay. Yeah. So they resort to violence. Okay. So unless we do that, okay, then the only other choice that I have, which most people probably aren't familiar with, is to take the spiritual route.
Yeah.
And that's what they really don't want us to do.
Yeah.
Okay? They want. That used to be my guitar.
Oh, your cat, courtesy of your cat. Who was this? Who did the work?
That actually courtesy of this robot. If there's this vacuum robot over here,
Yeah.
right? So I tried to get the cheapest one, the one that didn't have any Wi-Fi crap.
Yeah.
No
Yes.
Siri, no Alexa, right?
You don't want your
But
robot
if
as
I
a
come
conduit for the
downstairs in the middle of the
CIA.
night and I see it building an arm, I'm smashing it to pieces.
Yeah, I'm saying you don't want your robot as a conduit for the CIA or like AI
Right.
Terminator 2
It's like,
situations.
I want to make sure it's not starting to try to build appendages, to assert itself in the environment.
That's very fun.
But basically, my point is that the idea to talk about like Torah, right?
Yeah.
Felt like the best reaction and the best thing to do against these guys.
Yeah.
Okay? Because really, in reality, most people aren't aware of this, but these guys, they work for the Sitra Achra.
Yeah.
The Sitra Achra, meaning the boss of these guys.
Yeah.
They would do anything. They commit all of their resources to separate Jewish people and Noahides from learning Torah and connecting to God.
Yeah.
You see, what people don't understand is that's what's behind this entire master plan.
Yeah.
Okay? They want to kill off as many as, a very large amount of people, and they want to be able to control and change the nature, both the physical and the spiritual nature of the people who are left.
Yeah.
Okay? To separate them from the reality of God. Okay? That's really what's going on. That's what this is all about. Nobody gives a damn about the environment. Nobody gives a damn about, nobody is a Malthusian.
Yeah.
That's all, as you say, caca.
Yeah.
Okay? That's complete BS. So the only thing we can do, right, is two things. We can either, we can organize our own militias, or we can, and that's not going to happen, I don't think. Okay? Because, well, you see what we have to deal with. All the guys we know have too much to lose, right? Right? They have too much. They don't want to jeopardize their careers.
Yeah.
They put time and effort, like a bunch of punks. So we have a bunch of punks on our side.
Yeah.
So really, the only thing that we can do is learn Torah and spread Torah.
Yeah.
So that's why I got very into these
I hear.
presentations.
Yeah. No.
That's my answer to them, and it feels like it's a waste of time, to discuss these these new pieces of information that keep coming out because there's not going to be a response to it. That's why it's not interesting. It's sort of like, yeah, I know. You guys are probably like, you guys probably have like, you ever see that episode with Christopher Reeve on South Park? Remember when it was about stem cells? Remember stem cell research?
I saw something. I don't remember exactly how it went down, but
so basically, what in the episode, what he was doing is
it's just the description is just hilarious. I'm like laughing.
Fetuses, right? And he was like he broke its neck, broke the fetus's neck, and started sucking out like blood, right?
Oh my
and then he would get stronger, right? And in the end, he actually had like Superman strength, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's probably what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
With real children.
Dude, this is crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like whatever you're talking about, when you say, "Oh, this piece of information, it came out and it's going to be a scandal." No, it's not. That's where we're holding.
Here's the thing: it's not going to be. You're right. It's not going to be a scandal, but I think that ultimately, just as the Nazis lost by way of
How did they lose?
I'll tell you. No, usually these kind of people lose. I mean, well, at the time that they, temporarily lost, because obviously we see that they didn't ultimately lose. But the way that we got to Nuremberg, let's say, and the way that we got to the Eichmann thing, was that they slipped up, They got too greedy. They got too, they tried to fight a war on two fronts. They tried to do this. They tried to do that. Their people were telling them, don't do this, don't do that. And it's usually when somebody at the top gets stupid, just like you said, with the soccer players, they screwed up, whatever it is, but I'm sure there'll be something bigger than that. The only people who can defeat them is they can defeat themselves, and then everybody else is just gonna, so to speak, pick up the pieces. That's honestly, I think that's what's gonna happen. I think that's really what's gonna happen. I mean, I want to ask you though, like you started talking about these guys, the truckers in America. You were saying how they're armed. So what does that mean? I mean, what
I'm saying is that if because the Canadian truckers, they were attacked viciously, right?
Yeah.
But because they're not armed.
Yeah, true.
Okay, what's going to happen if those same sacks of garbage, who didn't show their faces, right?
Yeah.
Right. What if those same sacks of garbage are just they give them a new uniform? Yeah. And then they come and try to mess with the American truckers. It's going to be a shootout.
What if he sends? Because
they're going to attack truckers. The truckers will be defending themselves.
No, but what if let's say Biden sends some like junta style army guys with like arm. It's one thing, the truckers have guns. It's quite another. These guns are not going to go against tanks. Or whatever. What if that happens? You know what I mean? It's like that old argument by leftists, like, oh, what do you need your AR-15 for anywhere. You're not going to fight the army. The army has tanks, and the army has this, and the army has F-15, jets. So I'm asking that question, What are these truckers with their guns going to do? Meaning, how are they going to deter
listen,
the army?
They're good, regardless of whatever's going to happen. If they're going to be attacked, they're going to shoot back. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be the natural reaction.
Yeah,
This person's going to use whatever they got.
Yeah.
To strike back.
It's kind of like,
Even
that's the usual answer. They say that the army doesn't want no part of that anyway because the army doesn't want to have a firefight.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for the reason why is because the armed services are Americans, right? They enlisted to protect Americans, and their family, their brothers, their uncles, their fathers are truckers.
Yeah, and they come from the same stock.
Everybody.
They come from the same stock.
Right? What are you going to do? You're really going to
kill your own. Yeah.
So basically, what needs to happen, okay? Yeah. And this is something that needed to happen a long time ago. The only reason why Biden and these ghouls have power is because good American people loan it to them.
Yeah.
Send your children home.
Yeah.
Take a knee from the military until we have a legitimate government.
Yeah.
Who are you serving?
Yeah.
People have to ask themselves who they're serving.
Yeah.
You can't just blindly accept your duty. Your duty is to protect America. It's not to listen to that ghoul who sits in diapers.
But
whoever's controlling.
By the way, you remember when he was the convoy when he supposedly was inaugurated, and he's passing by the military guys. You saw them. They turned around. They turned their backs towards him. A lot of those guys.
Who did?
Some of these military guys. There was famous videos of these guys turning their backs to him. People were talking about it.
Yeah, I know, but still, I mean, that's like, it's, look, the point is like this. We're going to be like, they're going to attack, they're going to push, they're trying to kill your people.
Yeah.
Okay? They're trying to kill your people with vaccines and with whatever they have, whatever tools they have available to them. Just don't let them. I'm not saying you got to go attack them, but stop listening to them. Stop participating in the stuff that they say. Soldiers, don't go. Okay? I'm not a hippie from the 60s.
Yeah.
This is not to protect America. You are doing the bidding of those that want you dead. Yeah. And your families. And your children.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just like they're sending them to Vietnam. It's like they just want you dead, like, on the spot.
They want you dead here. They want your children dead.
Yeah.
Okay? So, it's like, I don't know what it's going to take for people to stop being such pussies.
I think they're too comfortable.
All you got to do is not participate. You don't
They're too comfortable.
We don't even have
the problem. They're too comfortable. They're just too comfortable. It's a Mitzrayim. You think about Mitzrayim, man. It's a 40. You want to get into Torah? Let's get into Torah. Like 49th level of Tumah. Rabbi Kessin talks about it all the time. We're almost there. We're there basically. And these people were, listen, 80% of them. I mean, I think we have higher than 20% of people who are awake, but at that time it was 80% of them couldn't see the forest from the tree, couldn't see past their nose, their giant Jewish nose. Moshe Rabbeinu came to them and said hello, and they're just like, go away, we're working.
Well, honestly, I'm not trying to be a contrarian, okay?
Yeah.
49th level of Tumah, this whole thing is a setup, okay? When you're talking about the 49th level of Tumah, you're talking about the Chet HaEgel, the golden calf. You're talking about
of course it's a setup, of course.
The Garden of Eden, right? It was all a setup anyway. So
I'm the first one to say this. I'm the first one to say this.
People didn't, they didn't put themselves in the 49th level of Tumah. Like, God did that.
I know.
And then, even Moses was like, God, why'd you send me here? Like, I made it much worse by coming here.
But you realize,
he said that.
But you realize that we do have free will, so to speak. A lot of people chose, a lot of people choose, even Jews, let's say, non-Jews also obviously, but choose to, you come to them and you're like, how about Shabbos? How about this? How about that? And they're actively choosing to tell you to take a hike. A lot of them,
Look, it's very inhospitable to make the right choice. The climate that we find ourselves in, this world is not conducive.
Yeah.
It's not really fair. It's like, oh, come do Shabbos. Why would anybody want to do that? Why? It makes no sense. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Do you understand? They don't know from its appearance. Okay, it's not even made to look good.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't have the Orthodox Jewish community. Not a great look.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've been saying.
Not very tempting.
That's what I've been saying for a very long time.
Yeah. You know who's really good at that? The Mormons. The Mormons, they make sure to have the hottest broads. They're constantly on the treadmills, and then they go and attract people because of sex. Okay? No, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it's really it's like
It's funny.
It's like it doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem like the information about why it's important to do Shabbos or why the Torah is awesome and why mitzvahs are awesome and all that kind of stuff, that doesn't seem to be available. Like, you got to somehow stumble upon that, or you got to dig and dig and dig, right? But what would motivate somebody to dig?
Yeah.
Right? When I was working on a construction site, I was digging ditches.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to come home and start digging for the truth? No. I'm going to turn on the TV and veg out. Right?
Yeah.
Why? Why would anybody, so you're saying that people had free will? Potentially they had free will. Did they really? No, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Okay? You could say that, maybe I'm wrong, because from my perspective, right, I don't know, they had people like Amram and Yoheved.
Yeah.
They had people who remembered Yaakov. They had, these tremendous, prophets and stuff like that. I've never, we don't know what it's like to be around a prophet. We don't know what it's like to, to be able to, have an experience of the Shekhinah. Perhaps they had access to that. But still, why would they, if that was so apparent, why didn't they choose it?
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the problem that I have. That's my frustration. It feels like whatever's going on, I don't feel like I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
All this information coming out, the people who are in charge, the people, the real players, they know what's going on, maybe, okay? And the rest of us, we're just kind of yapping, and we don't even really know what we're talking about because we're not part of it.
Yeah.
It's like Bill Burr. He was talking on Conan. He's like, I don't know why people get so involved with these, political things. You have people with walking around with the signs like, yeah, Republicans, and the other was like, yeah, Democrats, right?
Yeah,
and then one side's like, when our guys were in there, this, and when your guys, you ruined everything. And then the other guy said, no, our guys. So they're he's like, you're not part of it, right? He's some guy from Missouri.
Yeah.
You think that you have, you know what I mean? It's like football.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not on the field.
Nope. It's a big club and you ain't in it.
Yeah. Right. That's the caption from the Queen's medical.
And it's also from George Carlin.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear? Here,
Can't be that big a club.
Here. Club you here. This is I want to play this clip for the audience. Here. Here you go. I'm gonna play the shortest clip of this him saying this. Gaze. Okay.
Maybe I'm just cranky because Greg didn't let me do my presentation.
Probably the case. But once you hear
folks at home, let him know how you feel.
Once you hear Carlin, then maybe you'll be uncranked. Crank anchors.
I'm not gonna be uncranked.
Boo.
Yeah. All right.
Here.
Well, what happened?
Here.
Can't find it.
There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks. It's the same reason that will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. By the way, it's the same big club they used to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. You know? And nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on. The fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep
to believe it.
Yeah, but okay. So he said. Here's again. We're going back to why I think he's controlled opposition, because he didn't say like BlackRock or Vanguard.
Yeah, he just said name things.
He said big business.
Maybe he didn't.
And so
maybe he didn't want to say because he was afraid, and that maybe they killed him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he started saying.
It could be, but big business, right? Most of the time, whenever you hear that, you're talking about like mid-range businesses of people who built it from the ground up, and they create, and now they employ people, right? People who started from nothing and actually built like kind of like mid-range businesses. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like mid-level contractors who they became millionaires and they really started from nothing. Yeah. Okay? That's big business. But the really big business, no, he'll never point them out. Yeah. Okay, that's why I don't trust that guy.
Yeah. Listen, what was I gonna say?
Although he said right, except for he didn't specify. And then
I've
heard him attack people who he supposedly is trying to wake up.
I was gonna say that sometimes what happens is that when you speak in generalities, what I feel like it might be something more accepted than you notice like when you hear people or even guys like us, when we come out and we actually name the name of whomever it is that is trying to do whatever, people get all like, really? You're like specifically naming this name and like you're really, it's like you've really narrowed it down. Like some people will say like that's BS, stam. Some people will say, well, no, there's like a person behind. You know that there's a person behind that person. It's not ultimately Klaus Schwab. It's like, there's like people above him. That whole thing. So then they get into that. So then it becomes even more convoluted. And even the people that may agree with you will say, yeah, that's true, but, they've always done that, and, there's always somebody there, and they're above those people, and, like, okay, it's like, okay, so, like, that's the way it is. So it's like, maybe it's almost like there's no point to point that out. Probably why Carlin didn't. Because he's never going to get another, if he did, he'd never get another stand-up gig again. In any, auditorium.
I don't know. It seems like I've seen a lot of his stand up. Like I grew up watching him.
Yeah.
It's likely. I can't think of people who have seen more of his stand ups than I have, because I used to enjoy him. So I realized what he was doing. Like he was saying, he says right until a certain point, and then turns around and pisses in the faces of the real thing.
Well, he became Thomas. What is it? The conductor from Thomas the Tank Engine. So we know how that happened.
Actually, I don't.
On PBS, the other show, Thomas the little train.
You mean he started out like back a long time ago?
No, he eventually became later in his life. He was even joking about it. He's like, when I get up on stage, I'm not the conductor anymore. The little kids' train show on PBS.
It's crazy.
He became that, but you don't become that. He wouldn't have become that. Yeah, like you said, But okay, so you're saying these truckers, the American ones, they're doing their thing.
Okay, so look, the only, like, I was just trying to grab anything that seems like that's going potentially right. So the Truth Social, okay, that that's a platform where you could actually where supposedly, we'll see, right, where a person could say whatever they want to say without getting banned, okay, or at least political ideas and religious ideas can be expressed without being shut down. You know what I mean? Like, they're probably not going to condone threats of murder or something like that. But let people talk.
Yeah.
Okay. So that right there nullifies, if they succeed with that nullifies their ability to control the minds of people.
Yeah.
The only issue is, do they give a damn anymore? Have they succeeded to the point where they don't really care anymore? Yeah. That's my question.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and with the American truckers, I'm very scared of. I don't think that these guys have any issue sending their filthy beast goons against these people. So my point is like this: you have to be prepared to face these filthy beast goons. Like, they're going to send them.
Yeah.
Why would you head out and do this unless you think that showing that look, here come the filthy beast goons, like that's gonna like look, people, see what's happening, like we want to show you what the reality is. Like, I don't know what that's gonna accomplish. Like, some of these truckers, they're saying like, yeah, now you see, folks, right? Now you see who they are. Now you see, yeah, okay, now you see it. Yeah, but they got you now. Like, what? You understand what I'm saying? You didn't see it fast enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand what that's gonna do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does some like airheaded Canadian chick who voted for Trudeau, is all of a sudden she's gonna wake up and what's she gonna do? Okay, so she woke up. Now what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you voted your life away. Okay? And look, it's a grim situation. The reality of this is grim. It's very grim.
Yeah.
Okay? And I don't see much good stuff happening. I'm not saying it's not happening. Okay? God has his whatever stuff that he doesn't bother to show me. Okay? Okay, I'm sure there's wonderful, beautiful things happening, behind the scenes and blah, 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 blah. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to see it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Seriously, are we? I don't know. Okay?
Yeah.
I'd like to see something good happen, like sick relatives, in the hospital who need, I need something good to happen. All right, now, so you gave me some hope with this Pluto thing. You did.
Oh,
No,
that's
I'm serious.
funny. That's funny that you mentioned that.
That's something. I consider that supernatural.
That is
right?
absolutely hilarious.
The last time,
Yeah.
the last
It
time
was
the
1776.
Pluto thing occurred was July 4th, 1776.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we got this, this new country, Truth Social, right?
Yeah.
That's a new country.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
where the Constitution can happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so really, it's not a difficult solution. It's just folks en masse, if they could just hear this, just send your children home. Don't let them serve in the military until we have a legitimate government.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't let your child be a member of a goon squad for evil men.
Yeah.
The tyranny of evil men, to quote Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Don't let them be the tyranny of evil men.
Yeah.
Okay? All you got to do is get your kid to leave.
Yeah.
Or just. I wish I could just tell everybody, look, there's this whole theme going on in the past couple of years. Take a knee.
Yeah.
And it was happening now in the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
These scumbags.
Yeah.
So what happens? Greg, what happens if the majority of our fighting men and women take a knee? What happens? They got nothing, right? Who are they going to send?
That's it. Nothing. So they could get mercenaries from somewhere. That's what Canada did.
Right. So the soldiers, the American fighting heroes, should just go home. Yeah. They all got they got their own stuff too. Yeah. You know that Bill Burr, that routine. He goes. He's really kind of a leftist, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at least he can be funny from time to time. And now he's bitching that you can't say anything, but whatever. Yeah. So he was saying like this. He goes, man, we gotta. I'm scared of rednecks.
Yeah.
He goes, but you know what? We need those people because you can't have little cowards like me because we wouldn't have anybody to go to the military, right? Yeah. Those people are like our pit bulls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm like, well, I can't really go to Afghanistan because my roommate is half Afghani and that could cause some tension.
Yeah.
and then he does an impression of a redneck. He goes, hell yeah, I'm ready to go right now. He goes, here's an FCC. He goes, get that shit out of my face. I got my own stuff, man. I got some surface to air stuff you ain't never seen, buddy.
That's hilarious.
Right? Yeah. So on a certain level, he's trying to paint rednecks out to be these maniacs, but they're actually the most normal people, and yet they do have some surface to air stuff that we ain't never seen. Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is that if you try to get some mercenaries to come here, right? Yeah. Let's say this scenario plays out where the soldiers they take a knee. Okay, they're not going to follow that scumbag's orders. There's never been a time in history where it's been clear that the regime is false and that the people that they have on top are complete goons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not. It would be unpatriotic.
Yeah.
To follow their orders.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, if you could get these guys to go home, right, and everybody got their AR-15, right? Try to, listen. Why didn't Japan want to invade? The Japanese generals were warning Hirohito, saying you don't want to try to invade the United States.
Yeah.
it's better not to. Let's like focus on Asia and the Pacific. Okay, it's not a good idea because remember you have a farmer with a rifle behind every like bale of hay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So in America. Okay. So that hasn't changed. That's only gotten more extreme. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So really, that's all it takes because right now the military, the police, you are acting as the tyranny of evil men.
Yeah.
Okay. All you got to do is stop doing that.
Yeah,
okay.
That's true.
You're in a situation where they're openly trying to kill you with poison.
Yeah.
Okay. Kill some of you, a lot of you, and then try to manipulate your DNA for the rest of you.
Yeah.
Okay, and to your kids.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much more you need in order to just like say enough. Now, if you guys, I'm talking to whoever's gonna listen to this. Like, imagine like somehow by some freak occurrence, this goes out to Army radio. You know what I mean? Like, this starts going viral with our armed forces, right? And they say, "Well, we're going home."
Yeah.
Okay, what they're gonna be? What's Biden or whoever represents Biden, right? Whoever, like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna be standing there with their dork in their hand. Okay, who's gonna impose their tyranny?
By the way, Canadian officer passes out from a blood clot. There's a video.
I'm sure they're gonna blame a trucker.
Yeah, right? Craziness. Toronto police, supposedly. Emergency Act was passed in Canada. 185 yay, 151 nay. Now we know how deeply the World Economic Forum penetrated Canada. Nanobots. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. That's a great impression. Check this out. Check this out. So this guy Cliff High. I've been quoting him a lot. Check this out. He goes, in Germany, people are protesting for months in a different way. Before 1989, people in GDR protested every Monday against their own government. This is East Germany. Even today, there are still heavy corona restrictions by the German government. Protests with 50 plus or 100 plus people, depending on the region, it changes every week, are not allowed. We have to keep distance and wear a mask. Oh, this is some German person. By German law, people are allowed to protest without registering the protest, but police claim otherwise. A few months ago, people have started to use quote-unquote Monday strolls. Hello?
Yeah.
That was like a noise. Monday strolls as a form of protest. No signs, no shout-outs. Just hundreds of people strolling. By law, this is not a demonstration and needs no registration. Currently, there are Monday strolls in 2,500 German cities. In some areas, people already started strolling on a second or third day. According to some Telegram channels, more than 500,000 German citizens are strolling every Monday. Some channels even claim up to 4 million are strolling. 4 to 5 of all citizens of Germany. 4 or 5%, I guess. In some cities, more than 10% of all citizens in that area. Both local and national media are barely reporting on these strolls. They are keeping numbers low and labeling all the people as right-wing Nazis. I haven't seen a single report from international media about this. According to some Telegram channels, more than 500,000 German citizens are strolling every Monday. Some channels even claim up to 4 million are strolling. Okay. It's like a repeat. The funny thing is, police are overwhelmed with the protests. Yo, Ching Chang Chong, get off this channel. Блядь, сука, блядь.
Yo, hold on. There's two things I gotta say to that. I'd like to.
Faggot.
Okay, first of all, I have to go pee. But then, could I get 15 minutes to fix something that I screwed up in the letter bet?
Totally fine. But can I finish reading this German thing?
Can you? Okay, so I'm gonna mute.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute this while I pee, and then but in order to do that, you're gonna have to send me a Zoom thing.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna mute so that you don't hear me pee.
The funny thing, police are overwhelmed with the protests. They are at their limit. According to police press releases, 15-30% of police officers are not on duty because of Corona. Keep in mind, not all police officers are the same. There are many on our side, but they can't tell it in public. Otherwise, they would risk their career. We, the people, are planning more protests by foot, with bicycles, with cars. I hope you see where that leads to. I have seen multiple peaceful protests in other countries, no matter if they're in Canada, Europe, or Asia. Police is acting the same all the time. They're simply following orders. They use all the scare tactics they can, including violence, pepper spray, water cannons, baseless arrests, while they are anonymously hiding their identity. I'm not telling what to do, but what if every country is doing Monday strolls or on a different day every week? Media can't hide this. Police will be on limits. Criminal governments will shit their pants. And as next, we the people will take power back. See you on Monday. Monday strolls hashtag. My friend is doing his thing. So, what else can we talk about? What else? What else is interesting here?
Okay, I'm back. What I missed?
He's back. No, just the whole strolls thing. Just saying how people can do this all over the world, and we're going to take the power back, and all these wonderful, cute things. I just wrote a tweet. Canadian comedians are oddly quiet, and I tagged the following comedians: Jim Carrey, Seth Rogen, Russell Peters, Eugene Levy, Tom Green, and Howie Mandel. 4 of them, at least 3 of them, as far as I know, maybe 4, are Jewish. Out of the 6 guys.
Who besides Eugene Levy?
Seth Rogen.
Oh, yeah.
Howie Mandel, and Tom Green, I think. I'm not sure.
No. Tom Green isn't.
Howie Mandel for sure, Seth Rogen for sure, Eugene Levy for sure. So 3 out of the 6 comedians I tagged. 1 guy's Indian, the other 2 are just like white guys. So, I want to see. They're oddly quiet. As, what's his name? Dave Chappelle once said about black people after the Juicy Smouye attack. African Americans were oddly quiet. What they didn't realize is that we were supporting him with our silence.
Right.
Well,
we were supporting him. No, he said that we were. He goes, we were. No, how did he say it? He said it differently. It was actually. Whatever.
I'll tell you.
He's gonna pull up
No. Here. This is probably the most perfect skit, in my opinion. Yeah.
What they don't know is that we were supporting him with our silence. That's how he said it.
Listen.
You know what I'm talking about? Juicy Smouye. He's a very famous French actor.
You could see the woke are like shitting their pants.
Y'all never heard of Juicy Smouye? Juicy Smouye is an actor from France.
Yeah, sure. That's a real comedian, man. Well, at least in this moment.
He became famous on a show called Empire. One night, he was in Chicago late at night and was the victim.
Hilarious. People are dying.
He was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. You see, Juicy Smouye is gay and he is black, not just French. Oh, it was a crazy story. Apparently, when he was walking down the street late at night, 2 white men came out of the shadows with MAGA hats on and beat him up. Tied a rope around his neck, called him all kinds of niggas, and put some bleach on him and ran off into the night. The shit was like international news. And everybody was furious, especially in Hollywood. It's all over everybody's Twitter feed and Instagram page. Justice for Juicy and all this shit. The whole country was up in arms. He was talking about it all the time on the news. And for some reason, African Americans, we were like oddly quiet. We were so quiet about this shit that the gay community started accusing African American community of being homophobic for not supporting him. What they didn't understand is that we were supporting him with our silence.
Listen,
Because
we understood
that this nigga was
clearly lying.
Okay.
That's all.
That's the point. That's the point. Okay, so I got 20 minutes. Can I do my little? Remember how I screwed up one of the things? Like I
So we're gonna have to get on Zoom, and then I'm gonna have to
myself.
fuse this all together. I'm gonna have to fuse this conversation with the.
No. You don't have to.
What do I have to do?
No, just like if you send me a Zoom link.
Oh, I did audio.
We'll just do a separate one. It'll be like a 10, 15 minute like clip addendum to be.
No, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna have to fuse the Zoom link with this.
Oh, okay. If you wanted to continue, right? If you wanted to, okay, I got you.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Do you know how to do that?
That's what I did for the other episode. It was just a pain in the butt, but I had to do it. It's just
you got to do what you got to do.
That's right.
And this you got to do.
That's right. That is right.
Where's the Zoom link, Greg? Just kidding. Relax. I'm good.
Unless you want to do a thing where we do the Zoom, and then I record the audio the audio of the Zoom. How about that?
You could, we could basically just keep this going, right?
Yeah.
And then the audio of what I'm going to show is going to be, like it'll just be there, but then we'll have like a separate like segment that'll be a few minutes just for the.
Correct.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
So let me. Here. Well, but I'm gonna have to put the video anyway. So you know what? Just. You know what? Let's just do Zoom, Stom.
Yeah, I mean, the segment, it'll be there.
Yeah.
Anybody who's listening to this and wants to see it, they know about it. They just look.
Yeah. Sign up free. Hold on.
You're good. Make it nice, and I'm streamlining. I've streamlined the process. You're gonna love it if you give me a chance.
You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Men's club, whatever.
Come to Men's Warehouse.
Men's wear.
Greg, come to my warehouse and give me a chance.
Yeah. Host a meeting. Let's see with video. On.
Basically, what I want from Greg is that I want him to actually pay attention and participate in just one of these presentations.
Yes.
And then if he thinks it sucks, then I'll stop.
Yeah.
I just need a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Let him know how you feel.
So you're telling me.
How you feel.
Hold on. Participant invite. Okay.
Coffee is for closers. Okay.
Oh God. Man, what a great actor. What a horrible person. Unbelievable.
Remember in Heat?
In Heat?
Remember in the movie Heat.
Yeah.
Remember what he was saying? Like it was what's his name? Like Val Kilmer's like wife. She was like cheating on him with some other guy.
Yeah.
And then it was like this whole drama between them.
Yeah.
And then like Al Pacino found out like he was protecting her, but at the same time he judged her for doing that.
Yeah.
Right. And then the guy that she was cheating with, who didn't want to have anything to do with her anymore, she was too much trouble. Yeah. And then you're like, and then he said to the guy, he goes, "Why did you do this?" Because she had a nice ass. Do you remember that?
So random. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's just so weird. Yeah, he's like trying to convince him, like, It's funny. I send you a link on Facebook to Zoom.
Okay, so this is the 9:13 p.m. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna get off the WhatsApp right now.
All right.
And you are joining me here. And we're getting off WhatsApp.
Okay.
Alrighty, sir.
All right.
All right. Yes. Yes. Just give me 1 second. Let me stop this particular.